Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to the Daily Ramble. My name's Gary, and on the show this week, or today even, I want to talk about Derby. I went to Derby on Monday, but I just want to quickly touch on that because there was been a lot of discussion on Twitter about the singing, especially of the David Moyes song. So I'm just going to cover that from my own point of view. Going to look ahead to Newcastle, and then sandwiched in between those two items, we're going to look back very, very briefly. I'm talking about a minute or so because there's a couple of loose ends that are left untied from the transfer window. So I want to quickly cover those and then talk about Maxwell Cornet as well. He's back. Okay, so please give the show a watch if you enjoy it. Please subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze. It helps us a lot. Give the video a like and hit the bell notification icon. Thank you very much. So on with the show. So I went up to Derby the other night. It was a nice, easy journey up there, a couple of hours, no problem. The game itself was a walk in the park. You know, I'm sure you saw it. It was live on terrestrial telly, I think. But it was, there was nothing to be worried about. I mean, there were a few errors from Carer, but you expect those errors from Carer, don't you? We kind of priced those in. And had Derby been a little bit better at finishing, perhaps we could have been in a little bit of trouble because they got through our defence, a couple of times, one inside the first minute. But anyway, look, that aside, it turned out to be a gentle walk in the park with some good finishes, great little goal from Bowen, and then a great goal in the second half made by Bowen and scored by Antonio. So it was really nothing to get stressed about. Just stand up, watch the game, have a sing. And we did sing. We sung a lot, and credit to Derby. They were right next to us. I actually was in the seats immediately next to the Derby fans. There was 25,000 in there. It's actually quite a big stadium, bigger than. It's the first time I've been there. It's bigger than Leicester's. Leicester's looks quite small in comparison. But yeah, it holds 35. There was 25 there. Most of them were down our end. I think the empty spaces were down the other end. So the singing section next to us was quite full up, and there was a lot of backwards and forwards. It was quite good. There was a great song where it was all the usual, who the fucking hell are you, etc. But we sung "We'll Never Play You Again," which I thought was quite comical. And then it turned into a bit of a retro night. We're talking about singing, things like Big Fat Frank. Let's All Do the Bartes after Paolo Di Canio. I think that was especially topical because we just drawn Man United away in the fifth round. Christian Daly came out again. Love of my life. I Want Curly Hair Too. Every song you can think of was sung. And one that I joined in all of them, apart from one, because there was one was We've Got Super David Moyes. Now, I've got to admit, early on in the game, in the first half, Derby have got a version of that song that they sing for their manager, and some of our fans sang it in response to them, and there was a lot of bitching. Some of it was from me, actually. I was thinking, well, what the bloody hell are we singing this for? This is the 4 in 24 manager. He's hardly great, is he? He don't deserve a song sung about him. Anyway, moved on. Probably about a quarter of the fans sung that, and it wasn't even the complete version in the first half. Then it got sung again during the retro section of the second half, and I'd say probably half the fans were singing it. Again, I was on strike. I wasn't singing it. Each their own. And then finally at the end, when Moyes come over, about, again, half the crowd started singing. And again, I take this straw poll looking around me. There were a lot of people with their mouths shut. It wasn't just me, but anyway, I went onto Twitter the following day, and this is fantastic. I went onto Twitter and said, pointed out that it was a great night, some great singing, a bit odd hearing Super David Moyes. But anyway, got some really great feedback. First of all, I'm not going to name anyone, but here's my selection. It just shows Twitter isn't real life, and Moyes has the fans backing. Does he? Really? We should still get behind the manager and the players regardless. As it stands, he is our manager and deserves our support. Does he? Sounds like you would have preferred it if we've lost to a League One side so you could blame Moyes. isn't it so much better when we support each other, win or lose? Well, yeah, I agree with what you say with the last bit there, but the first bit, why would I drive up to Derby hoping to see West Ham lose? Right. And then another wise sage from the comfort of his sofa on Twitter says, I think that's the point of a supporter, to support the team and manager. I think you may be missing the point a bit, mate. No, I wasn't. And finally, this is one of my favourites. When has winning away games against League One sides in the FA Cup been expected for West Ham? Maybe it's since we've had David Moyes. So, look, these people have just been hiding behind the cushion, waiting for things to get a little bit better again, so they can come out and say, ha, told you so, right? To my mind, he's David Moyes, 4 points in 24. We're about to go up to Newcastle and probably struggle up there. I don't think things are going to get any better unless, but then they'll spin it and they'll say, oh, but he's on a roll now. He's won 3 and drawn 1 of the last 5. Forgetting to mention that one of them was against Derby, one was against Everton just before their manager got sacked, one was a half-strength Brentford, and one was against Leeds, away against Leeds. A game that we could have lost if it wasn't for a Fabianski save in the last minute, which apparently kept David Moyes in his job. Super David Moyes, that one. Anyway, look, each their own. Sing along. Is all I was trying to say from my tweet was, I ain't singing it. And if he turns it around and we end up, way back up the league, safe, doing well in the cups and everything else, I probably still won't sing it, to be honest, but I won't have such a problem with others singing it, But surely he's got to earn that. You think back to the managers in the past. The only manager song that we've had in the past is so-and-so's Claret and Blue Army, right? And there are certain managers that was never sung about. I don't think Alan Kirbishley made it onto Alan Kirbishley's Claret and Blue Army. Sam Allardyce definitely didn't, right? There were certain managers who were just omitted from that because it was we are West Ham's Claret and Blue Army. So to all those people who are telling me all this, what were you doing then? Were you singing the manager's name? I'm sure you were, because you got to support the manager through thick and thin. Anyway, look, that's Derby done. Next round away to Man United. Bloody typical. Anyway, the next item on my list is the transfer window. So the transfer window, a couple of things you might have missed. Apparently, all this talk about Moffey was, Taron Moffey, the player from Lorient, who we tried to sign, only for him to sign for Nice, because that's where he wanted to go in the first place. Apparently, our interest was just a creation. It was a work of fiction. And this is something that is as old as time when it comes to West Ham, and our lovely board placing, speaking to their mates and getting things written in the media about how we're interested in this player and that player and how good they are and how we've put a bid in when we haven't actually put a bid in, right? We haven't. And then there's another one. So that's the first thing, and then the other thing was a mystery last minute bid, probably too late for it to be accepted, was apparently submitted for Tazy of Sassuolo, who is the lifelong friend of Gianluca Scamacca. Apparently we put a last day bid in for it. Why'd we leave it to the last day, right? All these things, they either create something and say, oh, let's create some interest in the press because we want to sell season tickets. This is the winter, so won't bother linking us with too many people in the winter because we're not selling season tickets, right? But anyway, we want to keep them happy. We want to keep the plebs happy. So let's put a couple of names out there, create a couple of stories. Yeah, we're interested. We put a bid in for Moffey. No, you haven't, right? Let's make a last minute bid for Scamacca's mate because that'll look good in the press. No, it doesn't. It looks incompetent, which is basically what you are, Sullivan. As I've already covered in this Daily Ramble, I'm not a supporter of David Moyes, and it'd take me a bloody long time to become a supporter of David Moyes again, if that's even possible, which I doubt. But you support him because you kept him in a job. And Nick covered this nicely in his ramble as well. You supported him, so he is now your responsibility. What he delivers, you deliver, right? So you can't go throwing him under the bus, which you've done the day after the transfer window shut on Claret U by saying, oh, Moyes didn't want to sign anyone. Well, It's very easy to do that, isn't it? To do it through your mouthpiece and leak against the manager because you're worried that the next couple of games are not going to work out, and then you can just throw him under the bus and say, look, it's all his fault, point to him. Like I said, I'm not even a Moyes supporter, but Sullivan, you're riding roughshod over this club. You're sitting on your hands. You should have sacked Moyes weeks ago. You didn't. You can't now blame him. You can't blame him. Everything he does is your fault, right? Now, because he shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be here. Meanwhile, all these stories in the press, they're also your fault. We put a bid in for Moffey. Where'd that come from? Yeah, because it wasn't just one leg. That was an ongoing story. And who put a last-minute bid in for Scamacca's, mate? Too late for it to be accepted. Was it you, Sullivan? Probably. Anyway, look, just another reason why I want Sullivan out of this club. When that embarrassment clause expires, look, please let us stay up so that he can sell us, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing that's on my mind at the moment is, look, I really want to stay up. I kind of reluctantly accepted relegation in the booze up the other night. So I sort of thought, well, you know, it'd be quite pleasant a year in the Championship, just accept it, roll over, accept it. But then I'm thinking, well, if that happens, it means we're stuck with Sullivan for another year or two. I don't want that. So I'm back now to desperately wanting to stay up. And talking of desperately wanting to stay up, Maxwell Cornet is back, right? Maxwell Cornet, who surprisingly is actually a backup striker. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. I knew he's a winger. I know he's a wing back. I didn't know we bought him as a backup striker. But yeah, there you go. I'm surprised. Anyway, look, the long, oft missing Maxwell Cornet has made his way back into training via 4 weeks, 5 weeks in France and about 3 months on the sidelines. Apparently his problem has been resolved by a specialist in France. So now, Max, challenge for you, mate. Prove you're not a sick note. Come back in, play some games, make a difference, and actually help us stay up. Go on, Max, you know it makes sense. Anyway, I think the game at the weekend away to Newcastle is going to come far too soon for Maxwell Cornet. He's probably nowhere near match fit yet, but you never know. He might feature on the bench. If you're going to Newcastle, have a look at my thumbnail for this video, because the photo on there I took last time I was at Newcastle. I wasn't only up, you know where they put the away fans in at Newcastle, right? It's in the upper tier of the big stand behind the goal. God knows how many flights of stairs to get up there. It's loads. And then by the time I got up there, we were actually right at the very back under the roof, right? So it literally looked like the players were ants. You know, it was tiny little players. We won. It was a great day. It was with Felipe Anderson. I think that was I think I saw us win twice at it, but that was that was the one. It was a really good day out. The atmosphere up there was fantastic, even though we're up in the gods and no one can hear us down at ground level. It was a great day out. But yeah, you could see from the back of the upper tier. You can't see the players, but you have a lovely view of the Tyne Bridge. You know, especially at night when it's all lit up. If it's a nice clear night, you can see right out. Anyway, that aside, if you go in, take oxygen. Harrison Ashby could be included in their squad. It'll be an absolute sickener to see him. I've already seen him. I've already seen the tweets of him being welcomed to Newcastle. It makes me a bit nauseous, to be honest. I do go up there hoping for a miracle. And I can never kind of bet against West Ham. It's like, against Everton the other week, I predicted that we'd win 2-1. It wasn't 2-1. I think it was 2-0. I predicted we'd win 2-1 against Derby. It was a common theme coming here. We won 2-0. I'm going to predict a draw at the weekend against Newcastle. I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. And the reason for that is they're very tight defensively. We are getting tighter defensively. They're going to be missing some key men, one especially. So Bruno Guimaraes, who is their main man. He's their playmaker. He is everything to them, right? He is missing because he got sent off against Southampton in the week in the semi-final. Also a big doubt after a head injury, and I think you need to have like a week off or something after a head injury, don't you? Them's the rules. Is Alexander Isak. On the downside, Eddie Howe does have Callum Wilson and Anthony Gordon to call upon. So Anthony Gordon, who's just signed. So yeah, it's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a tough ask. They, as we know, they are a strong side. I hope. Looking at the Derby game the other night, it was a strong team that we put out, wasn't it? Defensively, it looked pretty good apart from Kehrer. So what I'd be inclined to do, because we play this 5 at the back now, and let's be honest, Aguerd, it's worth playing 5 at the back just to see Aguerd play because he's fantastic. So him alongside Oggy, I would also put as the right-sided centre half. I would put Johnson in there because I think that allows you to leave the other two in their position. Johnson's a safe defender. He's a safe defender first and foremost, and I'll put Soufal out wide as the wing back. Leave Emerson as the wing back the other side. I think that's the most important. They're the most important positions. It is going to be backs against the wall a lot in this game, but you never know. We can nick a goal with Bowen starting to score again. I think we're going to see Antonio start once more. This is going to be, and also Paqueta getting better with every game. Alongside Declan Rice. You never know. We have some players who are capable of causing an upset, so let's just hope they do. Anyway, it's going to be a long 5-hour drive up there. Going to stay overnight, have a few drinks, and come back the following day. Hopefully, we get a result. It'll make for the perfect Saturday. Anyway, that's me done. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit the bell notification icon, and subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze, on YouTube. Until next time, I'm sure Nick will be back on Saturday night after the Newcastle game to give his instant reaction, maybe accompanied by John, and we'll be back on the Booze Up on Sunday night. So until next time, see you soon, and come on, you Irons.